Have you ever wondered why there are nights when you just can't fall asleep? Even though you didn't drink coffee, you stayed away from your phone before bed, and everything around you is perfectly quiet? Sometimes the reason isn't about your bedtime habits at all. It's not about whether you meditated or dimmed the lights. It could be about what you ate that day, especially in the hours before you went to bed. Our bodies are designed in an incredible way to stay in sync between the circadian rhythm, hormones, and energy levels, and food is one of the most powerful factors that can influence that balance. When you eat the right foods at the right times and in the right way, your body gets a natural signal to relax, unwind, and prepare for deep rest. But if you eat in the wrong way or at the wrong time, you might be sending the opposite signal, telling your brain and body to stay awake instead of preparing to sleep. The first thing you need to realize is that sleep is not just about resting. It's a complex process of repair and recovery. While you're asleep, your body is repairing cells, regulating hormones, and processing memories. For all of this to happen properly, you need to go through long enough phases of deep sleep and REM sleep. And one of the deciding factors for whether you get that deep restorative sleep is the stability of your blood sugar levels, the production of melatonin, and the balance of neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA. Every single one of those is influenced directly by what you eat. Think of your body like an orchestra, where each instrument is one system: the nervous system, the digestive system, the endocrine system. For your sleep symphony to sound perfect, they all need to play in harmony. But let's say you eat a dinner that's heavy in sugar and saturated fat. Your blood sugar spikes and then crashes quickly, just like a violin suddenly hitting a wrong note, throwing the whole performance off. Or maybe you drink too much caffeine in the afternoon. That's like having someone bang the drums while everyone else is trying to play a lullaby. Research shows that certain foods rich in tryptophan, magnesium, calcium, and vitamin B6 can actually help your body produce more serotonin and melatonin, which are crucial for sleep. Tryptophan is an amino acid that your body can't make on its own. You have to get it from foods like turkey, eggs, nuts, or warm milk. Magnesium and calcium help relax your muscles and calm your nervous system, reducing stress. Vitamin B6 helps convert tryptophan into serotonin, which then becomes melatonin, the sleep hormone. But it's not just about what you eat, it's also about when you eat. If you eat a heavy dinner too late at night, your body has to put energy into digesting food instead of relaxing. Your stomach and intestines are still working, sending wake signals to your brain. Digestion also raises your core body temperature, which makes it harder for you to drop into that cool, relaxed state that's ideal for sleep. That's why eating dinner earlier, ideally about 3 hours before bed, gives your body time to process your food and then fully switch into rest mode. And the connection between nutrition and sleep isn't just about dinner. Everything you eat throughout the day builds the foundation for your sleep at night. If you start your day with a breakfast that's balanced with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbs, you'll keep your blood sugar stable, which means you're less likely to crave sugary snacks or overload on caffeine later in the day. Both of those are common culprits that keep people tossing and turning at night. Take caffeine, for example. If you drink coffee late in the afternoon, even if you feel like you're used to it, caffeine still affects you because it has a long half-life. After 6 to 8 hours, half of it is still in your system. That's like trying to sleep while a dim light is still on in your room. It's not blinding, but your brain knows it's there, and it keeps you from fully winding down. You need to think of eating and sleeping as two sides of the same cycle. When you eat well, you sleep better. When you sleep well, you have better control over your appetite, and you avoid overeating sugary or processed foods. But when you sleep poorly, the hunger hormone ghrelin goes up, the fullness hormone leptin goes down, and you end up eating in a way that makes your sleep even worse. It's a loop, either a good one or a bad one, and your food choices can decide which way it goes. So the first step to improving your natural sleep through nutrition is to get intentional. Understand that everything you eat and drink during the day is a message to your body. It's either saying, let's relax, let's prepare to rest, or stay awake, keep going. Once you start making food choices and timing your meals in a way that supports your body's natural rhythm, you might be surprised at how much your sleep improves, not just in how quickly you fall asleep, but in the quality of rest you get. And that means waking up in the morning feeling genuinely refreshed and ready for the day. Now that we've talked about the connection between what you eat and how you sleep, let's dive into the foods that actually help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. Because here's the truth. Your kitchen can either be your best friend when it comes to sleep, or it can be the reason you're lying awake at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling. The difference comes down to the types of nutrients you're putting on your plate. Let's start with one of the most important, tryptophan-rich foods. You've probably heard of tryptophan around Thanksgiving because people joke about turkey making you sleepy. And while it's true that turkey is a good source, it's not the only one. Eggs, salmon, pumpkin seeds, tofu, and even oats contain tryptophan. But here's something a lot of people don't realize. Tryptophan needs a little help to actually reach your brain and turn into serotonin, and eventually melatonin. That help comes from complex carbohydrates. When you pair tryptophan-rich foods with healthy carbs like quinoa, sweet potatoes, or whole grain bread, you actually make it easier for tryptophan to cross into the brain and do its magic. So if you've ever had a cozy evening snack like warm oatmeal with a sprinkle of nuts, you were unknowingly giving yourself a gentle sleep boost. Then there's magnesium, often called the relaxation mineral. Magnesium helps calm your nervous system and relax your muscles, which is exactly what you need before bed. Low magnesium levels are linked to insomnia, restless legs, and even nighttime anxiety. Foods like spinach, almonds, cashews, avocado, and dark chocolate, yes, in moderation, are rich in magnesium. If you've ever had a handful of pumpkin seeds in the evening, you might have noticed that you feel just a bit calmer afterward. That's magnesium at work. Calcium is another unsung hero for sleep. Most people think of calcium just for bone health, but it's also essential for the brain to use tryptophan to make melatonin. That's why warm milk before bed has been a classic for generations. It's a mix of tryptophan and calcium. But you don't have to drink milk if you don't like it. You can get calcium from yogurt, cheese, leafy greens like kale, or even sardines if you're adventurous. Now let's talk about vitamin B6, the behind-the-scenes player that helps your body convert tryptophan into serotonin. Without enough B6, you might have plenty of tryptophan, but still struggle with low serotonin levels. Foods rich in B6 include bananas, chickpeas, salmon, and chicken. So if you're having a dinner of grilled salmon, roasted sweet potatoes, and steamed spinach, you're actually giving yourself a perfect trio of sleep-friendly nutrients. Tryptophan, magnesium, and B6, all in one meal. We also can't forget about omega-3 fatty acids, especially DHA, which help regulate serotonin and reduce inflammation in the brain. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and even plant-based sources like chia seeds and flax seeds can help keep your mood and sleep patterns stable. That's one reason the Mediterranean diet, which is rich in omega-3s, has been linked to better sleep quality. One category of foods that often gets overlooked in the sleep conversation is fermented foods. Your gut health and your sleep are deeply connected, because the gut produces a significant amount of serotonin. If your gut bacteria are healthy, you're more likely to have balanced serotonin levels, which means better melatonin production and better sleep. Foods like yogurt with live cultures, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, and miso can be gentle ways to support your gut and, by extension, your sleep. And here's a fun fact. Some fruits naturally contain melatonin. Cherries, especially tart cherries, are one of the richest sources. Several studies have found that drinking tart cherry juice before bed can help people fall asleep faster and sleep longer. Kiwi is another fruit that has shown in research to improve sleep quality, possibly because it's high in antioxidants and serotonin. Herbal teas can also be your evening ally. Chamomile tea contains apigenin, an antioxidant that binds to certain receptors in your brain to promote sleepiness. Lemon balm, passion flower, and valerian root teas have also been traditionally used to encourage relaxation. Just make sure your tea is caffeine-free. Green tea and black tea have benefits, but they're better earlier in the day. Now, as much as I want to focus on the good stuff, we also need to talk about what to avoid. Because if you're loading your dinner plate with sleep-friendly foods, but still eating something that disrupts sleep, you might not see the benefits. High-sugar desserts can spike your blood sugar and cause a crash later in the night, which can wake you up. Heavy, greasy meals can lead to indigestion or acid reflux, both of which make it uncomfortable to lie down. And caffeine isn't just in coffee, it's in chocolate, some sodas, and even certain medications. So it's worth checking your intake. Putting it all together, think of your dinner as the starting line for your night's sleep. You want it to be light enough to digest easily, rich enough in nutrients to support hormone production, and balanced enough to keep your blood sugar stable. A meal like baked salmon with quinoa and steamed broccoli, or a warm lentil stew with leafy greens and whole grain bread, can set you up for a night where your body and mind are in sync, drifting naturally into deep, restorative sleep. When you start treating your food not just as fuel for your day, but as preparation for your night, you'll begin to notice the change. You won't just fall asleep faster. You'll wake up feeling like you actually rested, with steady energy and a clear mind that lasts all day. And that's the real win. Not just sleeping more, but sleeping better. If you've ever eaten a heavy dinner late at night and then found yourself lying in bed wide awake, you already know that the timing of your meals can have a huge impact on your sleep. And yet, most people focus only on what they eat, not when. The truth is, your body operates on an internal clock, your circadian rhythm, that doesn't just tell you when to sleep and wake up. It also controls your digestion, hormone release, and even how well you absorb nutrients. If you want to sleep deeply and naturally, you need to think about not only the nutrients you're getting, but when you're getting them. Here's the first big point. Your digestion slows down at night. This is your body's way of shifting energy away from breaking down food and toward repairing tissues, regulating hormones, and consolidating memories. If you're still digesting a large meal when you go to bed, you're forcing your body to do two jobs at once: rest and digest, and neither of them gets done as well as it should. That's why eating dinner at least 3 hours before bedtime is ideal. This gives your stomach time to process most of the food, your blood sugar time to stabilize, and your core body temperature a chance to drop, which is one of the body's natural cues for sleep. And it's not just about dinner. Timing your earlier meals can also set the tone for your night. Starting your day with a balanced breakfast can help regulate your blood sugar from the very beginning, reducing the afternoon crashes that often lead people to reach for sugary snacks or caffeine late in the day. And we all know what late-day caffeine can do. It's like hitting the brakes on melatonin production, just as your body is trying to get it going. Now let's talk about snacks, because sometimes the advice to stop eating after 7 p.m. just isn't realistic. Maybe you had an early dinner and you're genuinely hungry later, or maybe your schedule doesn't allow you to eat at the perfect time. That's okay. What matters is what that snack is and how much you eat. A light snack that's high in complex carbs and contains a bit of protein can actually help some people sleep better. For example, a small bowl of oatmeal with banana slices or a piece of whole grain toast with almond butter can help your body release serotonin and stabilize blood sugar through the night. The key is to keep it small, around 150 to 200 calories, so you're not triggering a full digestive cycle right before bed. The other timing factor you might not think about is hydration. Drinking enough water during the day is essential for overall health. But if you're chugging large amounts of water right before bed, you might find yourself waking up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. That interrupts your sleep cycle and can make it harder to get back into deep sleep. A better approach is to hydrate steadily throughout the day, tapering off in the last couple of hours before you go to bed. You still want to sip if you're thirsty, but avoid big glasses of water late at night. And here's something interesting. Your body's natural melatonin production starts rising about 2 hours before your usual bedtime. If you eat a large meal during that window, you can blunt that rise because your digestive system is firing up instead of winding down. This is why cultures that eat their biggest meal at lunchtime, like in some Mediterranean countries, tend to report better sleep quality. They give their bodies more time to process food during the day, leaving the evening for lighter meals and relaxation. Caffeine timing is another huge piece of the puzzle. Even if you're one of those people who swears coffee doesn't keep you awake, it can still reduce your deep sleep without you realizing it. Since caffeine's half-life is about 6 hours, that latte you had at 4 p.m. could still be affecting you at 10 p.m. in ways you don't feel in the moment, but you'll notice the next day when you wake up less refreshed. If you love coffee, try making your last cup before noon and switch to herbal teas or decaf after that. Alcohol is a tricky one too. It might make you feel drowsy at first, but it actually disrupts the later stages of sleep, especially REM sleep, which is critical for mental restoration. If you do drink, try to have it earlier in the evening and in moderation. giving your body several hours to metabolize it before bed. That way, you're less likely to experience the 3 a.m. wake up that so many people blame on stress when it's really their body processing alcohol. The big takeaway here is that your meal schedule should work with your body's sleep rhythm, not against it. That means front-loading your calories earlier in the day, giving your digestive system a break before bed, and choosing evening snacks that support rather than sabotage your sleep. Think of it like setting up dominoes. If your meal timing is right, everything falls neatly into place when it's time to sleep. If it's off, you can knock over the wrong domino and end up with a chain reaction that keeps you awake. Once you start aligning your eating schedule with your body's natural rhythm, you might notice something surprising. Not only will you fall asleep more easily, but you'll also start waking up naturally without an alarm. That's your body saying, "Hey, we're back in sync." And that's exactly the kind of harmony you want between your nutrition and your sleep. Now that we've talked about the connection between food and sleep, the best sleep-friendly foods, and the importance of timing your meals, it's time to put it all together into something you can actually do every day. Because knowing the information is one thing, turning it into a habit is what really transforms your nights and your mornings. Think of your evening routine like setting up a landing strip for an airplane. If the runway is clear, smooth, and well lit, the landing is easy. But if the runway is cluttered, bumpy, and full of obstacles, that smooth landing turned to a stressful event. Your runway for sleep is everything you do in the hours before bed. What you eat, what you drink, how you wind down, and even the environment you create around yourself. Let's start with the last meal of your day. Ideally, you're eating dinner about 3 hours before you plan to sleep. You want it to be balanced, light enough to digest easily, and rich in the nutrients we've talked about: tryptophan, magnesium, calcium, vitamin B6, and healthy carbs. Imagine something like grilled salmon with quinoa and steamed broccoli, or a chickpea and vegetable stir-fry over brown rice. These kinds of meals fuel your body without overloading your digestive system. If you tend to get hungry later in the evening, plan for a small intentional snack about an hour before bed. This could be a banana with a spoonful of almond butter, a small bowl of warm oatmeal with cinnamon, or a few whole grain crackers with cheese. The goal isn't to eat because you're bored. It's to give your body a gentle, steady release of energy through the night and help your brain keep producing melatonin. Your drinks matter too. In the final 2 hours before bed, skip caffeine completely. Even dark chocolate can have enough caffeine to affect sensitive sleepers, so save it for earlier in the day. Alcohol, as we've said, can disrupt your sleep cycles, so if you enjoy a glass of wine or beer, keep it moderate and have it with dinner, not right before bed. Instead, make your evening drink part of your wind-down ritual. Maybe it's a mug of chamomile tea, warm milk with a sprinkle of nutmeg, or a caffeine-free herbal blend. The warmth and the familiar routine signal to your brain that it's time to relax. Now, here's where the magic happens. Pair your evening nutrition with a calming environment. Dim the lights about an hour before bed to encourage melatonin production. Step away from bright screens, or at least use blue light filters if you have to finish some work. Keep your bedroom cool, quiet, and comfortable. If your mind is racing, a few minutes of gentle stretching or slow breathing can help transition you from the busy energy of the day to the stillness of the night. And here's a tip most people overlook. Don't let your sleep routine get completely derailed on weekends. Your body's circadian rhythm loves consistency. If you go to bed at 10 p.m. and wake up at 6:30 a.m. most days, but stay up until 1 a.m. and sleep in until 9 on weekends, it's like giving yourself a mini case of jet lag. Even if you can't be perfect, try to keep your bedtime and wake time within an hour of your usual schedule. Your digestion, hormone production, and sleep quality will thank you. It's also worth mentioning that natural sleep is not about chasing perfection. Some nights you might have a late dinner out with friends or enjoy dessert at 9 p.m., and that's okay. The point is not to eliminate every imperfect choice, but to build a strong enough foundation that one night out doesn't throw you completely off track. When your normal routine is sleep-friendly, you bounce back faster after those exceptions. If you want to take things a step further, you can even start planning your day with sleep in mind. That means choosing a breakfast and lunch that keep your energy steady, staying hydrated, and avoiding too much caffeine in the afternoon. That way, by the time the evening comes, you're not trying to fix a day of energy crashes and sugar spikes. You're simply following through on the good momentum you've already built. When you combine the right foods, the right timing, and the right evening environment, sleep becomes something you don't have to fight for. You're not lying in bed negotiating with your brain to please shut off. You're drifting off naturally, your body relaxing because it's been set up all day for this moment. And when you wake up, you feel the difference, not just in your energy, but in your mood, your focus, and even your appetite. That's the power of syncing your nutrition with your natural sleep rhythm. So tonight, as you think about what's on your plate and when you're eating it, remember, you're not just feeding your body for the day ahead. You're feeding your sleep for the night ahead. And when you treat your evenings with that kind of intention, you're giving yourself one of the best gifts possible, a night of deep, restorative, natural rest.